Yeah. Them silky smooth sounds of WeedPornDaily. Oh, yeah. Oh, turning off the fan. Oh, giving that noise reducer less work to do. Oh, yeah. WeedPornDaily. Oh.
Can you please stop talking like that?
The WeedPornDaily podcast. I gotta get it rubbed up. That particular smooth, silky vocal cord that kind of strums like a nice smooth guitar string.
Stop it, giving me goosebumps.
Yeah. The WeedPornDaily podcast is brought to you by the WeedPornDaily Stoner Shop. We've got weed socks, hemp wicks, rolling papers, all that shit that makes your stoner days like more dank. Something. I don't know.
I like that. That's cute, though.
What you need is a pair of weed socks on your feet. And what we have are the most affordable ones out there. And we even have premium, like, sexy, super psychedelic, super athletic, super duper socks if you're interested in that. Or if you're just looking for a affordable hemp wick, you're tired of paying like $25 for 10 feet or some shit like that. What is it? Like, what was that company? Well, I won't name any names, but there's a company out there that charges $20 for 120 feet or something like that, or 100 feet. And we charge $20 for 400 feet. It's crazy. It's crazy the difference. Save today by going to our shop. Were you going to say something?
I mean, I wasn't going to shit talk or anything, but I was like, there was a product that was given to us as a gift from like a good friend, and we were like, oh my gosh, look, it's a sample wick of, this brand, and just, it was so interesting to see the way that they packaged their sample, like, sizes, and also the way, how thick the wax was on the hemp wick, and how poor quality, like, it looked like it was just really irregular, would not burn correctly. It was just, we have quality product.
Well, just the fact that they're handing out samples of, like,
shoddy,
half a foot or something. I hand out samples and it's 10 feet. And you look at the 10-foot sample and you're like, wow, this isn't a sample size. This is, like, enough to last me for a little bit. And it's enough to give you a fair impression of the product, not just light it up and have it burn away before you even get to light up your bowl. So if you're looking for affordable, really high quality hemp wick, look no further. As well as weed socks. We even have raw papers if you want to stack up your order, if you don't have necessarily juicy J's in your area and you want to spice up your smoke with some flavored papers, just hit us up. What?
I was going to say, you forgot Juicy J's, and then you mentioned it halfway, and I was like, okay.
Head over to weedporndaily.com/shop and find all of our weed socks and hemp wicks. And of course, if you're looking to advertise on the WeedPornDaily podcast, how could you not capitalize on these dulcet tones? You've got to get on this program. Seriously, podcast advertising is the next level of advertising. We're getting slowly, we're creeping, we're prying the zombie-like hand away of TV advertising, and we're moving forward into the brilliant new future that is podcast advertising, which slowly really reminds us of radio advertising, but we're not gonna mention that dying.
But I mean, just think about it. The new movements that we have now, we have media on demand always, and you can always demand.
Well, rather than someone having to sit down around 6 o'clock and happen to catch your ad on TV, you have your ad on a podcast that is accessible any time of the day, any time of the year, and it's constantly accessible. It's archived. It's kept in our archive. There are a lot of advantages to having a podcast.
I mean, it's like downloadable, so even if somebody's in the air, somebody's like on a train or something.
You're on a smartphone, you're on a desktop, it doesn't matter where you are, you can access this podcast. Making it an incredible platform for any sort of advertising. Speaking of advertising, man, I was just fucking doing a whole spiel on the advertising kit. That should be going out to all prospective clients very soon. We've got a number of big businesses looking to advertise on WeedPornDaily, and we wanted to make sure our presentation was professional, to say the least. So if you're looking for all of our advertising packages, they are available at weedporndaily.com/advertise, or you can contact us at contact@weedporndaily.com, and we will send you over a PDF of our advertising kit, or that's about it. That's about it. We gotta get into this podcast. We've got a little mountain of news. We've got like our own stuff to get into. Let's dig into this dank. I hope you have your bowls packed, your hash nails heated. I hope those electronic nails have been calibrated and those vaporizers are properly
lubricated.
Well, depending on the vaporizer, lubricated, but just heat it up. And hope you consumed your edibles approximately 15 to 20 minutes ago, maybe even more, depending on how a creeper of a high it is, how much CBD it has in it. And if you're just joining us right this second, don't worry, don't fret, just toke up. I don't think we're actually going to smoke a bowl this time. We are so low on the sensimilla right now. It is scarce.
Tomorrow, though.
To say the least.
Tomorrow. He's being dramatic.
I pray tomorrow, because we said tomorrow 2 days ago, and it got bumped 3 days. So, I'm just saying. Realism over here. Realism.
Dramatic.
Dramatism in some people's eyes. Whereforth my weed make twixt haste with my tokes.
Hey, theater critic over here.
Alright, so welcome. Or whatever, Barry, throwing some bong rips. I know we got some in the library. And welcome to the Weed Porn Daily podcast. I'm Grouch, the editor, owner, the egotistical asshole who reigns over the ass box. And I'm sitting here with the lovely executive producer, CEO or something, Mrs. WeedPorn Daily.
What am I supposed to say? You said everything.
You say hi. Follow me on Instagram.
Oh yeah, Instagram. Well, it's because I always say that I'm the producer. But
it's not always, you gotta change it up.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MRSWPD or Mrs. WeedPornDaily. And
you can check her tag out on the website as well, MRSWPD. You can see all of her posts. You can see pictures of her, videos of her, all that jazz.
Mm-hmm. And on Instagram, I'm more active than Twitter, and you can see all of our daily office life, us working on the website, smoking bowls, having a good time.
You mean you taking pictures of me, taking pictures of bowls, getting smoked?
Yeah. It's a lot more fun though, because I put stickers on mine.
It's that fifth party experience, if you're ever looking into that. Yeah.
And you get really quiet stuff too at the same time. I promise quiet things. Never enough.
No, you gotta flood Instagram with more stickers and line play edits. Definitely. Not enough. But we've got news. Enough of
we have so much news. I'm looking at it all.
If you want to follow WeedPorn Daily, go to weedporndaily.com, yada yada yada, Tumblr, Twitter, all the social networks.
Except Instagram.
Which is Ganja Grouch. Surprisingly, I was I sent them a message and all that, and I've been trying to get the Instagram handle for us. And this weekend or whatever, I went over and I did my usual search for WeedPornDaily on the Instagram, like, Discover tab or whatever. And I noticed that WeedPornDaily, the user, didn't come up when I searched for it. And only I did. Because I have, like, WeedPornDaily.com in my description so that people find me when they search for WeedPornDaily on Instagram. But I didn't see them on the search list. And I was like, shit, the time has come. I can't wait. Like, immediately,
I have to do this
like,
right now.
Yeah, I was like rapidly.
You instantly
like
logged out and went around and.
Well, I didn't log out, but I went to my profile, I edited it, and I went to go change my username immediately to WeedPornDaily, and they were like, "No, sorry, this already exists." And I went to the page, and it's the same person, and it was just there. It just didn't pop up.
I guess because they were so inactive.
Just a huge tease, yeah. Well, you say they're inactive, and their last post was months ago, but they recently changed their avatar to, like, say WeedPornDaily. Very interesting.
To say
Like,
WeedPornDaily?
literally, yeah, before it was just a picture of weed, and now it's like a picture of weed, and then the text WeedPornDaily is, like...
Wait, what does the
it.
text look like?
It's
Looks like our
shitty
text? Oh,
No,
okay.
it's just shitty text. But yeah, I fucking... I'm like, you're so fucking lucky I don't have the trademark to this. You'd be down in a heartbeat, dude. Like, goddamn. What was that? Got on that little rant.
Well, no, what that was that if there's anybody that knows anybody who can help us out and
Yeah,
get that.
if anybody wants to hire, like, an assassin with bitcoins, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Or weed coins, or whatever the fuck they're called.
Doge coins, Kanye coins.
Any sort of currency that you may have accrued. But if you're looking to follow along with the news, more specifically, head over to WeedPornDaily.com and click news up top. Or go to WeedPornDaily.com/tag/news. Weeducation.WeedPornDaily.com. You can also check your local state as a tag. You can also check the activism, crime, and legalize /it tags. All of those are very useful tags to navigate the site and really get the most out of your marijuana news. So right away, we've been away for so long, the map is slowly changing colors.
It was kind of crazy seeing that.
Crazy. I recently updated we have a page on the website in our pop primer where we have a map of the U.S. and it lists all of the states and their current position on cannabis. So are they a recreational state? Are they a medical state? What laws are there in place for decriminalization? What laws are there in place for CBD bills? That was recently added to the article. So I updated it. I added all the new medical states. I added all the new CBD places, and I just updated the image itself. And just updating the image, you can just see that the map is slowly but surely turning from a white, like stark,
pale color,
non-cannabis, drug war place to a very sweeping medical trend, and slowly the green is creeping all over the recreational. And this was one of the places that really it just popped up and was like, hey, we're legalizing it, what's up? I mean, legalizing it in a fucked up way, but legalizing it nonetheless. And better than CBD. But I'm sure you guys already know. Or maybe you don't. If you're in New York, you know. You saw the smoke cloud. New York legislature approves medical marijuana bill. This comes to us from Albany and the New York Times. Reuters. Is Reuters like a part of the New York Times? Reuters?
Yeah, I think it is,
I
actually.
guess it is. So it's
Why?
Reuters.
Is that what's linked?
Yes. New York State lawmakers gave final approval on Friday to a bill that would allow limited access to medical marijuana in New York, joining 22 other states where cannabis has been legalized for therapeutic purposes. The bill, passed on a 49-10 state Senate vote, embodies a deal reached on Thursday between Governor Andrew Cuomo and lawmakers that would allow patients to inhale vaporize extracts of pot's active ingredients, or eat them in food, but prohibit smoking of marijuana itself.
Interesting.
So you can eat edibles, but no smoking weed. No joints, no blunts, no bongs.
And it's vaporized extracts.
Yes. Exactly how medical marijuana products will be formulated in New York will be left up to the state's health department under the program, which the governor would have discretion to halt at any time, and which will expire after 7 years unless lawmakers reauthorize it.
Jeez.
Under New York's measure, the health department would license 5 private companies in the state to produce and distribute medical marijuana products through dispensaries. Patients aged at least 21 who suffer from any one of the listed ailments, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, neuropathies, spinal cord injuries, cancer, and HIV/AIDS would be eligible to use cannabis as a treatment. The health department would have discretion to approve other serious conditions, quote unquote, for use of the drug as needed. Patients will get a registration card allowing purchase of the drug from a licensed dispensary. Only doctors in their direct care will be allowed to certify need for the drug. So New York making leaps, taking steps back. Always fascinating to see the struggle between cannabis activists and politicians trying to keep the conservative nature of these very quote-unquote liberal, if not simply just liberating movements. Just the fact that you can't smoke. You know, like he had to sit there and be like, alright, you guys, if it's really medicine, and you guys aren't smoking it for your shits and your giggles and your fucking munchies, then you better fucking inhale it through a vaporizer, or I better see some fucking
pills,
or I better see some fucking inhalers and shit. I better not be seeing joints. I better not seeing blunts in my city. Very interesting how staunch of a stance they had to take in order to do this. And you know what really fascinates me about these kind of measures is the limitation of distributors. We're having the same kind of problem in Canada, where Health Canada right now is taking away all of the growers' licenses from personal and medical patients in Canada. So you have hundreds and hundreds of people who have developed their own personal grows, losing their right to grow and having to dismantle them and literally destroy their plants with manure and kitty litter. And you have all these private, individual businesses essentially being shut down and being replaced by these large, very, very expensive corporations that are very limited and are corporate. People always come to me and they're like, bro, what do you think about when Monsanto comes in and takes over our weed? I'm like, where the fuck have you been? And why don't you talk to the 2 fucking big companies that distribute all the weed to Canada by mail? Why don't you go talk to them? Or why don't you go talk to the one company that produces all the weed for all the scientists in the FDA program? Why don't you go talk to them? Why don't you talk to all these monopolies that have already been created with marijuana, because you guys are busy fucking looking at Monsanto and pointing fingers? It's ridiculous. Yeah. So we have New York again setting another example with this and having a very limited program with only 5 of these centers opened up. So, it's like fucking lottery, just like Washington, and Colorado. Who's gonna be lucky enough to get into this program? No, not Colorado. Washington did a lottery. But who's gonna be lucky enough to be one of these 5 dispensaries, and hopefully they're quality? Let's not leave it up to the consumer. Let's not leave it up to normal economic standards where, supply and demand determines who is the best product. Let's have the government hand out licenses to...
This just makes me think about the taxi situation in New York City.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of the same system, and they're just accustomed to that shitty fucking system of paying thousands of millions of dollars for somebody else's title, for like a single object, which it could be like a business title name or like a building. Like, oh my god, it's so stupid.
Yeah. We don't like who needs Uber? We just need yellow taxis everywhere. That is clearly the answer.
Yeah.
No free market. No.
Let's pay like $140,000 for like a little plaque to put on the top of your car and say that I am an official approved taxi cab of New York City. That's such bull crap.
It was very interesting. Bubbleman recently released a video where, if you guys want to check it out, head over to YouTube. .com/BC Bubbleman, all one word. And it's Bubbleman's world. I don't know. He's a bubble hash connoisseur from Canada.
Fresh frozen.
Very popular, yeah. He produces a lot of bubble bags, fresh headies. What was my point? He produced a video recently where he went to the Toronto Next Gen conference, and during his visit, he was actually able to visit one of the new manufacturers / producers for medical marijuana for Health Canada, and their new MMM-CR bill. Or PR. One of the two. Like the new one. The one that's replacing the old one. So he gets a chance to visit one of these crazy facilities that's going to be able to create cannabis for all of Canada on a federal government level. And he said that the level of security and just how strict it was down there would be considered like Pentagon level in the US. Like, the grow rooms all had to be within, 10-foot, thick walls of concrete. Like a fucking bank. Like, it literally was like a bank safe where all the grow rooms were and stuff. And then each room has to have...
individual locks, individual security
locks.
cameras.
It has to have security cameras that link up to the government so that they can watch you in the federal government office. And they also have, a ID system where they have multiple people in the room at once. You just can't have one person in the room at once at one time. It's two, serious shit that was going down just to produce plants. Imagine if someone came and told you hey, I just got licensed to grow tomatoes in about $20+ million facility underground in Pentagon style, security levels.
Did anybody see that X-Men movie that just came out? That fucking path that they had to take in order to get to Magneto's holding chamber. That fucking level of security.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
Wait, that was the Pentagon.
Yeah,
that
was the Pentagon. Yeah. Pentagon-esque. Let's take it to an unreal level. Hey guys, remember that one movie? Don't look at the wiki page for the Pentagon. Remember X-Men? God, Bryan Singer did such a good job.
Well, just some people maybe are not really familiar with government stuff.
Of course. What was I thinking? Contextually,
We have maybe a younger generation that is listening to this and is unaware or something. I don't know.
Okay, moving on.
You have to title this podcast after.
Uruguay's first marijuana club seeks recognition. This comes to us from Montevideo. I rarely say that word. In Uruguay. Uruguay?
No. You don't, that one.
Uruguay.
Yeah.
It's hard to pronounce. I don't know what particular, there's no tildes to guide me through this. But this comes to us from the Associated Press. Through yahoo.com.
I was gonna say, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, that's Tumblr.
Oh, really? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
CNN has it. All the major sites have their source as the actual image.
Well, I was gonna say it's also because Tumblr owns, or Yahoo owns by Tumblr.
Yeah, no,
or
definitely. But a group has taken steps to become the first officially recognized marijuana growing club in Uruguay, where lawmakers have made their country the world's first national marketplace for legal pot. The Association of Cannabis Studies of Uruguay began the process by registering with the Education and Culture Ministry. Drug Control Chief Julio Calzada said Tuesday. The club will have 40 members and will be headed by Laura Blanco. She told the Uruguayan newspaper that El País that members will pay $300 for each member to join and a monthly fee of up to $65. Some of the members will use the marijuana to treat medical conditions.
Very interesting.
Yeah, if you guys were curious on how the system is going down in Uruguay right now, I mean, they kind of had these cannabis clubs open already, kind of like how you have in Spain and in other foreign countries where...
European countries, yeah.
More European countries, Netherlands, where you have these more liberal cannabis laws, more open to interpretation, and you have these gray areas, these gray markets appear. And this is one of the first completely legal dispensaries to open up in Uruguay, so it's nice to see, and it's nice to see how it's going to play out. You know, $300 a flat rate to join, and $65 a month.
I can dig it.
I mean, what are the benefits? They didn't say like, oh, you get an ounce a month with your $65 pledge.
Maybe they elaborate on the article.
I don't think they did. I would have included it. They'll be able to purchase. Well, see, there you go. They gain the privilege to purchase up to 10 grams a week or 40 grams a month from a network of pharmacies. So you're basically paying for the privilege to pay for stuff. You know, it's like, there's something that we're not seeing here that they can't list explicitly. But if you guys weren't aware of the situation currently in Uruguay recreationally, Uruguayan citizens and legal residents 18 or older can register to obtain licenses, giving them the right to cultivate up to 6 marijuana plants per household and harvest 480 grams a year, or join a marijuana co-op club between 15 and 45 members and no more than 99 plants. A lot of we saw it in a recent Vice documentary highlighting this whole phenomenon going down. I know that the wince with the mention of Vice.
Well, no, it's just like you said recent, and I was like...
Oh, it's recent in the sense of like a month or two ago, but...
Yeah, you're right, though.
It's fairly recent. But they go to like a very liberal portion of Uruguay where there are a lot of hippies. Basically like the California of Uruguay where everybody's living in
like
fucking...
the hippie village. No electricity.
Everyone's growing their own food, and yeah, there's no electricity. Like, they don't believe in that shit. Well, they believe it.
Well, I think it's like one house has electricity or something, like select kind of houses.
And it's run by one man on like a bicycle.
You see everybody like pumping the water out of the ground and stuff like that. I'm like, oy.
It's intense. So they go to that village, and those people already grow weed. They don't give a fuck. They just grow weed, and they grow against the law, and sometimes they get caught, and sometimes they don't. And they were discussing how with this new recreational legalization that they wouldn't be registering with the government because they don't want to be put on a giant list of cannabis growers. You know, not only is it like a matter of personal privacy where you don't want, the cops to necessarily have like a huge list of grows to just go and harass people with, but you also don't want to necessarily be stereotyped or, what is the word that I'm looking for? When you're discriminated against for your choices. You know, where is the list of blueberry growers that the government has to keep? I mean, there's probably one online that there's somewhere, or like there's probably a list of registered quote-unquote farms and stuff, but explicitly like the blueberry growers, there's no like list that the police station taps into and has criminal records on every single person and does background checks on every single person. Like the extent that they go through with the cannabis thing is showing the discrimination that is still rampant right now in society. The stoner stigma is still very much prevalent. FDA. I'm just going to gloss over this one. But basically from HuffPost, the FDA has come out and said that they are going to start evaluating scientific studies that promote the benefits of medical marijuana, or just like they're just going to start studying
surrounding the safety and effectiveness of marijuana,
positive and negatives, obviously. And then they're going to talk to the DA and get them to possibly reconsider their rescheduling.
Reclassification.
Yeah. So, maybe some news on the federal level, or maybe some action, rather, on the federal level. It's something that we rarely see, and it's something that a lot of advocates really, that's what they look for. They look at the individual states or the individual counties making their particular initiatives and petitions and movements towards medical and recreational movements, and they're like, those are stepping stones. Like, I want to see Obama come out and reschedule it. I want to see the DEA reschedule it so these medical states and recreational states can finally have banks. I want to see, like, some moves on the federal level so we start seeing some actual...
big steps happening.
Sizable moves that trickle down into every facet of the cannabis industry. So that is definitely one of them. Very much a whisper, but it's happening. Police, this is another one I'm going to gloss over. It's just an interesting thing to discuss. From Oregon Live, police rethink seizing pot in criminal cases.
This comes to us from Denver. This is happening in Denver. It's from Oregon Live, but Denver.
From Colorado and Washington State to California and Hawaii.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm telling you, baby, I know my news. I'm the only guy who posts it. But from, all across the state, the world, the fucking universe, you're throwing me off now. All across the nation, we have cops now who are reacting to these recent changes in legislation towards more liberal cannabis laws, like medical states or recreational states, or even decriminalization. And we have the cops still enforcing their draconian drug war laws. And they're facing consequences for it now. Finally, we're seeing some
reprimanding. No?
Some reprimanding and some, I don't know, I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. The police are finally seeing repercussions and finally getting reprimanded for their irresponsible and inconsiderate actions. So now in these medical states, we're seeing cops basically busting into grow ops, and rather than just busting down the door, cutting down all the plants and destroying them and taking them to evidence in a plastic bag and letting them rot away and never giving them back to the person, they're actually going into the grow ops very, calmly. They say, "Hey, can we please enter?" They open the door. They walk inside. They cut a sample from a couple of plants. They take them back to the lab, and they make sure that they confirm that they are truly indeed cannabis plants. Because there are a lot of cases now where people, they'll pull up the plants and then they can't necessarily prove that they're cannabis, or they're so low in THC that they don't classify as cannabis under particular laws. There are a lot of little caveats that the cops are running into. Or they'll get into a case where they'll literally, the person will be in the right of the law. Hey, I'm in California, I'm allowed to grow up to 99 plants in Humboldt. I'm sorry. Go talk to the local
legislator.
Go talk to the city council, go petition, go do something, but leave me alone because I am within the right of the current state of the law. So we see these officers, rather than just going in and destroying thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property, they're taking a more reasonable approach and being a little more calm and collected about it, and not making a fucking scene about it and showing who's boss and oh, this is bad.
Going on a
stomp
fucking
it out.
ego trip.
Yeah, fucking cowboys and shit. They're actually treating it like law enforcement, detectives shit, which is nice. And we're also seeing we're gonna report on it, I think, a little later maybe. Cops are ignoring decriminalization laws in certain counties because they're saying like, hey, the state law says, the state law says this, and we don't care about the county law. You know, we're enforcing state law. And the people in the county are like, hey, who pays for your bills again? Or who pays for the
paycheck?
The paycheck and the car that you're driving in and the gas and your food that goes in your mouth? The people of the county. That's right. So, we're just seeing a slight shift in police mentality, and we're gonna gloss over this one as well because it's. I'm sure everybody read it. It got a lot of notes. It got a lot of exposure. It
was all over the news everywhere. It was on Facebook, everything. Yeah.
Like I talked to people about it, and they had already heard of it. From Ceylon, a SWAT team blew a hole in my 2-year-old son. So here we have a very graphic and a very intimate story of a family who gets wrongly rated by, I think, the local police, not even, DEA or something.
Well, they say SWAT?
SWAT, which is a department of the local police. So, SWAT team breaks into the house. They throw in flash grenades. They come in with, like, M16s and fucking huge guns. And one of the flash grenades goes in...
They throw it into...
Throw it into the baby's crib. And it explodes, and the baby now... Still, like weeks, not weeks later, but after the event and even after the article's posting, the baby still has a hole in its chest where you can see its ribs showing and stuff. So we're seeing a martyr here. They didn't die, but we're seeing an incredible victim here of the callousness of the drug war. It's unforgivable. Like, how do you reprimand the cops for this? Like, how do you say to a police officer, like, you didn't... They raided the house, and they were looking for someone who wasn't even in the house at the time. So all of the energy expended, all of the fucking money wasted on those flash grenades, all of the fucking resources wasted, and all of that money wasted on the child's poor, hospital bills, all of that could have been saved by just knocking on the door, by just treating the situation completely differently. Like, everything about this is an example of what's wrong with the drug war.
It was so obvious that it was a house of a family. There was a minivan parked in the front. There were children's toys laid about in the front lawn. Like, there was no doubt that there was a possibility of a child getting caught in something like this, and it was just the worst.
Regardless if it's a grow house and the parents are endangering their kids or whatever, like, it doesn't mean that the police suddenly get to endanger people as well.
Very careless.
So if you ever need an example of why we need to end this drug war, why stoners feel like their personal liberties are always at stake, why there's always a sense of paranoia, why a lot of people think that we live in a police state, this article is a prime example of that. But moving along to some more good news. We've got Oregon trying to make another attempt at legalization here. I got this question a lot after Oregon failed to legalize marijuana last time when Washington and Colorado were doing it as well. And I really haven't gotten the question since. It kind of distresses me. I wonder what happened to all the Oregonians. Did they all move to Colorado and Washington?
But I was like,
not.
Maybe.
Apparently not. According to this, Oregon marijuana petitioners plan to turn in 145,000 signatures Thursday to make the November ballot. So make sure to get out there for November and vote. Vote for legalization. They gathered more than 60,000 more signatures necessary. Very nice cushion there. So hopefully we see the West Coast get a little more greener. Definitely. This was another little quick article that I wanted to touch upon. I thought it was something that we can get into a little bit since we've been watching a significant amount of the Great Food Truck Race recently. But this comes to us from Time, but they were one of the many publications to talk about this. They
I was
were
like,
not
why
the
did we have
first.
to pick them?
It's just like, I feel like a publication that a lot of people are comfortable with.
Ugh.
But this marijuana food truck can get you high. The Munchies are going artisanal. After debuting in Denver on 420, a marijuana food truck is expected to open at a farmer's market in Washington State this weekend. Customers will be able to choose between 4 cannabis-infused meals at Jet City's farmer's market in the city of Everett, Washington, between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, which just happened, I think. Yeah. So, sorry about that. Well, if you were there, you were able to participate in a Thanksgiving grilled turkey sandwich with stuffing, homemade gravy, and just a little cranberry chutney on cornbread.
Chutney?
Chutney.
Please don't talk like those people.
And next up, we've got a take on peanut butter and jelly, but we're doing it on a 5-grain bread, boasting homemade nut butter, banana, infused honey, and jelly, which is a blend of blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, cherry, and pomegranate.
Oh my god, why?
Bacon bits, optional, of course. And then, of course, we have to have a Vietnamese pork banh mi, a sandwich with pulled pork, pickled cabbage, vegetables, sriracha aioli, and an infused colored garlic on a French roll. And then, of course, for dessert, we got you covered with a very luxurious truffle popcorn.
That wouldn't be for dessert. I don't think so.
You know, just a little, if you're feeling like a little snack, something a little light, you know, maybe you don't want something a little heavy, like chutney.
Well, that's just like a side dish. Yeah.
I'm doing spiel. You're killing my spiel, baby. I'm trying to spiel this to the chef.
You're doing this spiel
This
so...
is a truck stop right now.
This is such a thick spiel that you incorrectly pronounced infused garlic butter, and you said infused butter garlic.
Maybe
you need to pay attention more.
Maybe we're from Philly, and we're cooking some serious, luxurious cheese sandwiches. We don't like to call them grilled cheese sandwiches. We like to call them Sammys. I don't know what they call them. They had something. They had a big debate. We don't just put cheese on sourdough, bro. We don't do that. All right. We got a little bit of truffle oil in there. We got a bit of garlic.
Can we? Okay. So, this past weekend there was a marijuana food truck that was hanging out.
Clearly, Miss WeedPornDaily wants to move on. She's a little tired of the food truck race. I don't blame her.
We watched season 4
of it
and season 2,
basically,
in that order.
But come on, how could you? Aloha, or what was it? Maloha, or Malaho?
Malaho?
What is it? What do they say?
Malaho?
They say mahalo.
Mahalo. I was so sure.
Come on, I'm not speaking gibberish over here. This is serious Hawaiian lingo.
I have no...
Mahala mahugala.
No, I have no...
You're supposed to know what I'm saying by these, gibberish.
I just have no, history love of, Hawaiian, so I don't know anything.
Well, it was, the Hawaiian team, also.
I know, but,
plates.
they would say it, in a whisper every time they, left. You know how you said, somebody says, thanks, and they kind of, brush it off? They're just like, mahalo. Or when he hangs up the phone, instead of saying, bye, they go, mahalo, and then they hang up. I don't know, it was just kind of, not really emphasized. It was weird.
They're just like, ma.
Okay, moving on. This comes to us from the Cannabis.
From the Cannabis, a.k.a. the Denver Post, a.k.a. Wheat Central News. police have so far sanctioned no recreational marijuana stores for selling to minors. Very interesting. So the police actually did undercover stings on various recreational shops, and they weren't able to catch any of them for selling to minors.
Good.
Right? They clearly had enough money invested into that project that they weren't going to risk it by selling to some, 30-year-old cop who was posing as a 14-year-old McLovin type character. But apparently 16 of the compliance checks have occurred in Denver, and clearly all of them passed. Very wonderful. Great to hear that even despite all of the naysayers, despite all of the shit talking that anti-legalization groups like to do, saying that think of the children, what will, all these children are just going to walk into the pot shops and walk out with the weed. They just hang out in front of pot shops and smoke all day. This clearly isn't the image that is in reality, and just an image that they're fabricating out of their paranoia. And they call us paranoid. More good news? I don't know if it's good news, it's just news. A lot of people reblogged it though, you would think it was fucking good news or something. Los Angeles is getting a farmer's market for pot.
It's a cute idea.
You think it's a fucking revolutionary concept or something, but we've reported on farmers markets in California before. But I guess that they aren't frequent enough.
And it's also it's like a prominent weekend.
Yeah, it's the July 4th weekend, so. Yeah. But Los Angeles medical marijuana users will soon be able to buy their product straight from the people who grew it, according to Paisley Bradbury, executive administrator of the California Heritage Market. The farmers market is set to open the weekend of July 4th, and anyone with a medical marijuana card will be able to walk through and check out the booths where various vendors will peddle cannabis flowers, edibles, and more.
I'd be kind of excited about it.
Yeah, it's basically like a free cannabis cup. I was thinking about it. Like that needs to happen more often.
It's gonna be super
Why
cute.
is it that we're paying $100 for a fucking cannabis cup ticket when clearly we can just get a couple of companies together and entities who want the free advertising and just want the exposure with the local community and have them engage them in a free setting like that and still probably make money, maybe selling t-shirts, maybe just through ancillary sales later out of word of mouth and exposure. There's just a lot of advantages. There. Exactly. Yo, Corilla, where you at?
Well, no, Lime.
Lime.
Seabirds.
Seabirds. Caw! Caw! What's the vegan call?
Oh, that's so mean. But they're so prominent. They're so gonna be there. I think they were from LA. No, I don't know if that counts.
I don't know. They travel. But more good news. More movements on the marijuana front. Always nice to see people fighting for cannabis in more conservative states.
Wait, so this is I'm just reading this right now. This is kind of crazy. Or is it is this what is this?
This is progress, but it's not happened yet.
It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, if you're reading it and thinking oh my god, it's happened. No, it hasn't.
Oh, it hasn't.
So Pennsylvania Senate committee approves medical marijuana bill. This comes to us from Fox 43. I'm guessing an affiliate in the Pennsylvania area. Yeah. The Senate Law and Justice Committee voted unanimously today to approve a bill that would make it legal for seriously ill patients to use marijuana to treat their conditions with recommendations from their doctors. This is the first time medical marijuana legislation has been considered in Pennsylvania. The bill is expected to go to the Senate Appropriations Committee for a vote next, before going to the full Senate. So,
partially there.
Not even cleared the Senate yet, and it hasn't even touched the House. SB 1182, sponsored by Senator Mike Fulmer and Senator Dalen Leach, a Republican and a Democrat respectively, would allow qualified patients to obtain medical marijuana from a limited number of licensed, regulated dispensaries throughout the state. Smoking would not be permitted, but patients could consume marijuana in edible form or through the vaporization of plant or its extracts. Home cultivation will also not be allowed under the bill. Patients under the age of 18 would be required to have parental consent in order to take part in the program. A companion bill, HB 2182, was introduced in the House with 46 co-sponsors but has yet to receive a hearing. So yeah, we have a medical marijuana bill making some moves in Pennsylvania, not a CBD bill. Fucking thankfully. They're taking some cues from their neighbor in New York.
I was going to say, this sounds very familiar. It's something we just heard about.
Yep, and they're just trying to legalize it and say, hey, medical use only. I better not see you smoking it. Fucking dickheads. Clearly they know everything. Everything about weed. Some good news, I guess? Not really. USDA releases official workplace policy on marijuana. Just in case you were confused and you were curious on whether or not you could smoke pot in Washington or Colorado or any other medical state and still hold up a job at a private or even governmental body, this is your message from the federal government. This comes to us from NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. In a memo obtained by NORML, released in late May, the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, clarified their drug policy in light of the growing number of states legalizing marijuana for medical and recreational use. In response to inquiries regarding the department's policy for employees in states that approve recreational or medical use of marijuana, the USDA strongly reaffirmed that their drug testing policies concerning marijuana are still very much in effect, regardless of state law changes. The memo states that, quote, use of marijuana for recreational purposes is not authorized under federal law nor the department's drug-free workplace program policies, unquote. It then elaborates, quote, accordingly, the USDA testing procedures remain in full force and effect, unquote. This policy is largely still being enforced due to marijuana's current status as a Schedule I drug at the federal level. Like we mentioned earlier, the FDA is still fighting, as well as many, many advocates, to get the DEA or Obama or anyone in the Justice Department with the proper strings to reschedule cannabis to at least a Schedule II, because at a Schedule I status, it is proposed to have no medical benefits at all, which is kind of a farce, if you ask me. Like, basically everything in this world can be used for medical purposes, from poison to fucking vegetables and nutrients and stuff like that. You know, like, you just have to know how to use it. And it's ironic that cocaine and heroin are Schedule I, yet we can get pharmaceutical grade heroin anywhere in the United States.
You just gotta get a prescription.
But, you know, the USDA described their ongoing policy by stating that, quote, USDA agencies test for the following class of drugs and their metabolites. A. Marijuana opiate, which includes codeine, morphine, and 6-acetylmorphine, and PCP. And then B. They test for cocaine, amphetamines, AMP, MAMP, methamphetamine, and MDMA. Oh, I forget that MDMA is an amphetamine. Yeah, it is. These drugs are listed in the Controlled Substances Act as Schedule I and Schedule II drugs, respectively. Schedule I drugs are substances or chemicals defined, blah, 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 no medical use and a high potential for abuse. They are considered the most dangerous drugs of all, blah, 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 whatever. This is interesting because now we're seeing Washington coming out and saying that there will be basically no edibles available when stores open up recreationally very soon. And this is due to the USDA and the Department of Agriculture actually coming out and saying,
saying
like, hey, we need your facilities to actually meet
our
USDA standards. And according to the Washington Recreational Governmental Board or whatever, only one of the facilities has reached that check, and they are like not like fully checked. Like it's fucking like it's crazy. I think it's 1 out of 5. Like I'm throwing like all these figures at you guys. And I'm just like talking out of my ass here. Let's check the edibles tag to verify all of the information here, because that's what we do. We got the information here. Wheat Ridge. We're talking about that. We did that. There we go. Washington State to require approval of packaging. This wasn't it. There you go. From mynorthwest.com. Don't look for pot brownies when Washington legal marijuana sales start. When marijuana retailers open for business in Washington State next month, it's likely they won't have any marijuana-infused brownies, cookies, or edibles on their shelves despite the popularity. In addition to getting a processor's license from Washington State Liquor Control Board to manufacture edibles, commercial pot kitchens must also pass Agriculture Department inspection for food safety. So far, just one inspection has occurred, and results haven't been released. With processors unable to buy marijuana for extraction until sales are approved next month, potential edible makers are left waiting.
That's really intense.
So we're seeing these kind of federal announcements slowly trickling down and having their effect on the state level. We'll see if Colorado has such movements happen, but they've really just been already cracking down on their edibles, I'm sure. And they had the food department recently go around and do food inspection on all the manufacturers. So they got their ship in order. We'll see. That's it.
We did it!
Oh god. Man, it feels like
What is their
I'm
timestamp?
winded here. An hour in-ish. I know. It was a lot of news.
You did it, though.
We did. Now we have another little mountain to climb.
No, easier. We have to talk about ourselves, so it's easier.
I'm talking about myself. Oh, yeah, let's do this. WeedPornDaily news, man. It's that time. It's that magical time, children. Like, I need some fucking cues. I need some fucking Barney music. It's time. Let us.
You need like the what is it? The little noisemakers they have like ding,
Yeah,
like
the party.
the party sounds.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't even.
We need a soundboard.
Yeah, I need to really step up my police academy skills here. But WeedPornDaily news. Let's sit down. Let's light up one. Let's just talk some shit about what's been going down in the office.
Or what hasn't been going
Oh,
down.
really? Yeah, with the lack of work. We were sick. We got, you got sick, and I took care of you, and then I got sick taking care of you, and then we both were sick for a little
For
while.
a second week. And then this week we're finally not sick.
Yeah, so we were out for about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Doing whatever work we could do, but just in bed, drinking liquids, eating soup, and
sleeping
as
a
much
lot.
as possible. Yeah,
A lot of sleep.
but,
What was it, the first and second day? I just slept the whole day, and I had no idea what you did. I have no idea where you went. Just
yeah, knocked out,
knocked out the whole day. Yeah.
crazy. But we're better now.
Mhm.
I'm out. It's nice. I can actually exercise now.
Mhm.
It's a liberating feeling. I felt trapped. I felt like I was decaying in my body, and my anxiety was slowly building up in all of my muscles.
Yeah. Tomorrow, today was really stormy. It was torrential storms outside. Hopefully tomorrow we can go
get some
exercise.
cardio in.
Yeah.
Definitely. But now that I'm back to work, I finally got the ad kit finished that I've been talking about on every single fucking podcast for the past couple weeks.
You were just compressing it before the podcast, right?
Yeah, just getting those final touches on it and making sure that it was an optimal file size in order to email it to people. It's basically like a little, I think a 7-page booklet, little pamphlet, to explain to advertisers all of our various advertising packages, as well as pimp some statistics about the site, like the kind of page views, click-throughs we get, and just kind of hold advertisers' hands through the whole process, because that's what we're kind of getting the request for. People don't necessarily just want to throw money down on the table and get an ad. They want to kind of be
more specific and precise.
They want to be taken to dinner first. So this is that. This is me making some creme brulee and some fucking chutney and fucking aioli. Ad kit finished. And then I was able to slowly optimize the website as well.
Happened for a couple days.
Yeah, I was really getting bugged by the website load times. Like, on many occasions, the website would take 10 plus seconds to load, and that is just simply unacceptable. Unless I'm, like, a wallpaper website or some shit with, like, giant JPEG images. So I was able to go through the website's code and compress it significantly. I was able to minify a significant number of these scripts. I was able to compress a number of the images, reduce some of the image calls, some of the external requests, blah 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 blah. Fucking word sauce. What is it? Web design word sauce for you guys today. Also upgraded the shop, the website, just the whole software architecture, and debugged it a bit, because with any upgrade you always get fucking bugs that I have to iron out. So the website should be running all up to date, the smoothest and fastest it's ever been, and it should be the most mobile friendly it's ever been to date. And more changes will be coming as I actually have energy now to complete them.
And we're gonna be doing our like exercise game more.
Yep.
So now that we're not sick.
And we got a new camera now. That was a really nice surprise during the week. We got a Canon Rebel
TI-5.
Some basically like a nice,
a standard like point and shoot DSLR.
DSLR, man. Something that we've been in dire need of in the office, because we had a DSLR before that I was gifted by a friend, and
it was a great camera. It still works.
It's a great camera. Still works. It's a little dated. I wasn't able to get true 1080p video out of it, and I accidentally dropped it one day on my cheap ass tripod, and the viewfinder stopped working. So I was unable to access any of the viewfinder features, and I was basically on automatic shooting for a long period of time, which made a lot of the photography very difficult and limited, to say the least.
I mean, you would lose shoots, and you would just...
Yeah, there would be times where I wouldn't even know if, like, the camera was full, like the card was full or something. So I would be taking shots, and I would hear the click and the like everything, and it would seem perfect. And you get to the computer, and none of the shots are there because...
the card was just full.
You don't know. You can't get any error messages. You can't see anything on the screen. So it was incredibly frustrating. And now all that's gone. It was like a weird feeling having that much freedom and having that much ability to do stuff now. Like now, the camera also has a front-facing viewfinder, so I'm able to record more personal,
selfies.
Kinda, yeah, selfie-esque videos, which is something that I've been dying to do. It's something that it's kind of necessary in the space that I live in. You know, I just can't set up a fucking tripod in front of my nice-ass couch and call it a day. You know, like I don't have that kind of space to work with. So having a camera that I can just grab and hold in my hand and point at my face and see myself, you know, and not have to, like before I would literally lay down a mirror somewhere, and then I would place the camera in front of it and then hope that it would reflect the viewfinder on the mirror so that I could see myself, and that's how I would position the shots. And it's just so much work. And now we're past that, and I've already produced I think over 10 videos for WeedPornDaily TV now, and those are going to get rendered soon and uploaded, and you're just going to start seeing a wealth of just really high quality, really HD, hopefully more experimental shots coming in the future. I know I've got already some really sexy shots just from stuff that I already have some experience with, like a couple, throwing in a few LED lights, playing with background, playing with warm and cool lighting and things like that. But you'll start to see more things like a light painting and just
a whole medley of stuff.
Just experimenting now, yeah, and you'll stop seeing just like the Illadelph. I'll be able to take the camera out and like shoot other things.
Do field shots, maybe.
I've been shooting like the packs, like me actually vaping the packs and other bongs and other sessions with people and stuff. It's nice. It's liberating to say the least. So it's not. I've got new product shots up on the website. It's wonderful. The camera, I also took new product shots of the hemp wicks with the new branding.
I saw it.
So all of the hemp wicks are now updated with the proper new branding on our head shop and Amazon. So it should look all professional now and cohesive and such. I also pulled together some wholesale advertisements for our wheat socks and hemp wicks. Really trying to get on that wholesale game. I was pissed off this week. Like, I wasn't pissed off, but I went on the WeedPornDaily tag on Instagram, and some little, like, cunt spammed it, with their ad. Like, the whole, like, tag for, like, a day is just full of, this kid posting, fake Huff socks. Ugh. And, really shitty, like, Comic Sans, like, word, like, what is it?
Text, like
Microsoft Word type text. And
word
he's
art.
like, yeah, I got Huff socks, 2 for 10, hit me up. All over the tag, and it's got his, like, personal email.
On the Weed Socks tag?
No, WeedPornDaily. Like, he wanted to, like, hit my audience specifically.
Eat a dick.
Seriously. Nigga got blocked, and all of his posts got reported for scams. Seriously. Selling fake Huff socks and then trying to, like, make money off of me. Get out of here. Like,
Did you notice any notes on anyone?
No, not necessarily. But just the fact that it's there. You know, like, people will be looking for WeedPornDaily on Instagram or the tag or whatever. Like, something that I promote and that I hope that people utilize and expose themselves with. And then they're just gonna see his, like, shitty little, like, fucking ad there. It's, it bothers me, you know?
No, most definitely. I don't think it's fair to your consumer either.
Like, it's hard enough, the fact that I have to, like, rebrand the socks, you know, and I have to define myself and really separate myself from this industry that's
been monopolized
for counterfeiting purposes. You know, I'm just trying to do something legit, just trying to do something legal. And these niggas are coming over and stepping on my toes and trying to, like, steal my money and trying to, like...
Scare you.
Not scare me, because he's literally like a little fucking kid.
I thought you were talking about something else.
No, yeah. Well, the big companies are trying to scare me. But these little kids are trying to come in and take my money by, like, doing
they think they're, like, making money, and they're really not.
Yeah, let me do some wholesale distribution of Huff socks. I'm gonna give you 100 pairs for $350. Or something like that. I'm like, where's your margin, bro? Like, what?
Where's your management?
Yeah, what profit are you making? Are you making $10 off of this? Good for you, bro. Like, I hope that model works for you. Like, yeah. I don't know. But it's pretty, like I saw that, and I saw him trying to, like, sell wholesale socks to people, and I said, why do I not have, like, 20 wholesale ads? He was able to flood my shit with, like, 30 really shitty pictures of Huff socks that he's taken and like text that he's thrown over it. Why can't I take 5 minutes out of my day to make a really professional wholesale ad and get it out there to compete with him and give people, like, an option? So they see this really shitty word art fucking ad, really poor photography, really poorly composed, and they see it and they're like, do I want to buy from this guy who looks sketch as fuck and looks like a little kid? Or do I want to buy from the guy who looks like he actually owns, like, a company and is, you know, somewhat legit? So wholesale ads are going out now. I'm gonna start hitting up head shops and just any place that sells stonery products and start offering our goods on a wholesale basis.
Or if you would like to be a head shop that buys our socks,
exactly,
you can contact us at
contact@WeedPornDaily.com. Basically, we sell socks for $3.5 or $3.50 a sock, wholesale, and the recommended retail price or whatever MSRP is $9, So you're making a very good margin there, particularly if you're a brick and mortar shop that doesn't have to pay for shipping or anything like that, and then you get the novelty markup as well if you're in like a more conservative area and there aren't that kind of there isn't that availability of like the closest thing you have is like Spencer's to like Weed's
like if you're
clothing.
even if you're lucky, like
yeah. So if you have that kind of monopoly, you can easily maybe mark them up like $11-12. I've seen these socks go for.
I've seen for 25. Honestly,
yeah. So it's whatever price you want to charge, but $3.5 a sock or a pair, rather, is I think very affordable wholesale prices. And I also have hemp wicks for undisclosed wholesale prices because they're that fucking good. But I'm also going to be offering soon, if you recommend us to one of your local head shops and get us distributed, we'll send you like a little gift pack of like hemp wicks, weed socks, goodies, in order to show our appreciation for the hookup.
Get the stoner rep package.
Yo, what's up? But all of that hustle going down, yeah, I think I've run out of steam. I don't know what else to talk about.
Well, that's like everything. That's been like what we've been doing.
Well, yeah. What else? I feel like I've done
We've
more
been
than
so
that.
sick. Remember? We were sick. We played some video games.
Yeah, I played Mortal
We rolled
Kombat.
around. Oh, you played a lot of Mortal Kombat.
Fucking Complete Edition. Yeah, I started digging into that. It's like the first video game I've played in months.
Yeah. And it's like it's surprising to me because like I remember my very first video game when I was like little in South America. They had Mortal Kombat and they had Sonic for the Genesis. And I just remember like playing Mortal Kombat. That's what we would play, and I became ace at Sonic. And just like how much lore is in that like series is incredible. Because what he would be doing is that he would be doing like the ladder. He would just be going straight up and whatever through the different fights. And I was just like looking up like, wait, that's Cyrix? That's like, just like different people. And I'm like, who is that? Who are those people? And he's like, oh, it's a new character. And then I look it up and I'm like, no, it's like from Mortal Kombat 2. And it's not a new character.
Yeah, it was interesting to see this particular edition of the Mortal Kombat series. They took an opportunity to kind of iron out all the wrinkles in their story and
tie up loose ends.
Tie up all the loose ends and just essentially reimagine the Mortal Kombat story as it, I guess, should have been, or like if it would have been established in the beginning with all the characters they have now, Because as we discovered, a lot of the characters were actually created through glitches that fans found, and just
or not even glitches that fans found, but supposed glitches, like rumored glitches.
Yeah, not even like confirmed glitches.
Like they're like literally the developers are like, this does not happen. This does not happen. No, there's no way to recreate this bug at all. And people would claim, yes, you can, blah blah blah, and whatever, and they're like, no. But we'll make the character anyways because you guys won't shut the fuck up about it. It was kind of funny. It was funny, like, ketchup and mustard and learning, like, little, like, things that the developers had that they would, like, name. Like, noob. What is it? Noob what?
Cybot.
Cybot is, like, it's like a mix of, like, two names or something like that. Like, all funny things. Yeah. So you were playing a lot of Mortal Kombat. A friend came over and played, what is it, Schoolhouse? Or Rival Schools. Which was very good. Yeah.
Old PlayStation game. Yeah, I guess that was about it. We haven't been doing...
I'm telling you.
Yeah, we made edibles.
Oh yeah, you made edibles, and you spent like the whole night working on that.
Yeah, we were cooking, we made tortilla chips, homemade, and kale chips.
Oh, now I want some.
And while we were making that, I decided to do a little bit of can of butter or can of oil, really, with the twigs that we've been collecting for a very long time, over a year now. So I took about a pint jar, like if you have one of those like ball or cur pint jars, and you filled it up to the brim with twigs. We took all of those twigs, threw them in a blender, blended them up into a more fine consistency to create more surface area for, binding to the fatty oils and all that. And then I threw it into a double boiler with some coconut oil and water, and we got some really nice canola oil out of it. After it's sitting on the stove for about 6 hours, I pulled it out and put it into a Tupperware, threw it into the fridge, and the water and the oil separated, the oil hardened, and we had ourselves a nice little thick green patty of canola oil, coconut oil infused with cannabis. It's nice because I've been doing a lot of research recently into cannabis cooking and just the chemistry of cannabis in general. I've been reading specifically a book called Marijuana Chemistry and the Marijuana Cooking Bible or something by Adam Gottlieb. But basically, I've just been getting this wealth of new information about cannabis that I've been looking to share and then also experiment with in my own areas. Basically I discovered THC gets you high, right? And it's the one that gets you that psychedelic paranoid high, like that the high. And then CBD purportedly with a lot of people it reduces the high. It's known as the kind of
natural suppressant?
The suppressant for THC, yeah. And it levels you off. But then now, from the book, I'm finding that it not only reduces the effect of THC, but it also delays the onset of the high. So CBD is actually the cause of creeper highs. So whenever you smoke a weed and it hits you like 10 or 20 minutes later, it's probably higher in CBD.
Oh, how cool.
And also it extends your high. So while it may dull your high or reduce it also makes it longer. So they find a lot, particularly with edibles, it becomes a more dramatic effect because when you smoke something, the effect's like 30 minutes to an hour if you're lucky. But when you consume an edible, you're getting an effect for like 3 to 6 hours in some cases. So differences in cannabinoid levels are much more apparent over this period of time than the very quick smoking experience. So they're finding that when you consume a very high CBD edible, it'll last significantly longer, and it'll take significantly longer to kick in as well. So it's something to consider if you're taking like high CBD edibles, and you're like, man, I'm not really feeling it yet. It's been 30 minutes, hasn't kicked in yet. Like maybe you just want to wait a little longer because it's purely CBD or so high in CBD that it's just taking a lot longer to kick in. I also learned that CBN, CBN is the byproduct of cannabis, essentially deteriorization, oxidation of cannabis. If you ever wonder, can cannabis go bad? It doesn't necessarily go bad or spoil, but what it does is the THC turns into a less potent form of cannabinoid known as CBN. And this form of cannabinoid actually enhances the mental high of the experience. Something that was reported with decarboxylated substances. A lot of the times people will say, I prefer to take my weed or my edibles and actually bake them in the oven for a kind of low temperature, 200 to 300 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. And that will actually take any THCA, which is inactive THC, and activate it to THC. And it'll take any THC and turn it into CBN. And what this does is it changes the ratio of your cannabinoid levels, and it tilts it from, say, like you have a higher THC bud, or a bud that's maybe fresh frozen, and it has a very high THCA value, and it takes that high that may be very anti-inflammatory, very cerebral, very high, and it will make it even more cerebral, even more high. So programmers, particularly people who have to sit down for a long period of time and they do a lot of mental work, they find that they don't necessarily want the couch lock associated with the CBD, that kind of dullness, that kind of like relaxedness. They just want the mental effects of the cannabis, and that is where the incorporation of higher CBN levels comes into play.
So is that like the same thing as people who they take weed and they cure it for like a year?
That is the same thing. Once you cure weed for more than 6 months to like a year, you're starting to get higher CBN levels than you are, like, well, not higher levels, but they're starting to increase dramatically. And that's when you see those buds that are so cured that they turn like red. The trichomes will literally turn red, and the leaf matter will turn from green to yellow because it's lost all of its chlorophyll. That is when it's incredibly high CBN levels. And that is why people tend to report a very clean, a very cerebral high, because it's
been aged.
That ratio, yeah.
It's like a fine cheddar.
So the reason I bring that up is because the twigs are a different ratio of cannabis. You know, they don't have necessarily a high level of THC on them because most of the THC tends to be in the stalks and the glandular heads, and the twigs don't necessarily have that. They are more filled with CBG and other, well, not CBG necessarily, but other cannabinoids that aren't THC. And by also grinding them up in the blender, heated up the twigs significantly. Because, you know, whenever you blend anything in a blender, it actually takes heat. You know, it's such a high friction level that it cooks it to a certain extent. And then it cooking with the coconut oil also decarboxylates it a slight amount because of the heat exposure. So this created a higher CBN product, which essentially is me saying we have some fire-ass cannabis oil that gets you really high.
So what are your plans for it? What are you going to do?
I just want to eat it. I don't know. Just like,
well, like, are you going to eat like straight up butter? No,
yeah,
I mean, yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't want to necessarily cook it into anything or incorporate it into anything to risk loss of any more cannabinoids, because it probably won't be that high of a potent can of oil because we just used primarily twigs. We didn't use any ground flour, any nugs. So breaking it into brownies would just be like dilution at that point.
Or like topping a waffle with it?
See, that's what I'm thinking. We're just going to top a waffle with it, or like put a dab of it in some oatmeal in the morning. Or
no, I feel like it would get lost in the oatmeal.
I mean, as long as you're eating it, it doesn't matter, you know? But I'll literally, like, I've seen people take their finger, stick it inside, and like take a dab of it and just eat it. So I'm considering that. But you'll see a video of the cannabis oil production up on WeedPornDaily TV soon, recorded with a nice fancy new DSLR camera.
You can see how dirty our countertops are.
Seriously, don't even mention like the state of our kitchen right now. But thank you, fair goers of this trail of toking. I hope that you guys find many satchels of Sensimilla on your trails, on your journeys, and have to bust as little of missions as possible in order to accrue the cannabis necessary, maybe to medicate or even recreate for yourselves. And I hope that the herb takes hold of your mind and frees it and lets you know that it's been around for thousands and thousands of years, and reminds you of its synergistic relationship with not only the human spirit but with the earth itself. And let the earth bring you back. Stay regular, superstoners.
It's really hard for me to look at you.
When you talk hippie like that, I can't look at you straight.
No, I'm just